Sleepaway Camp, released in 1983, is a cult classic slasher film that has become a staple of the horror genre. The movie follows a group of teenage campers at Camp Arawak, where they are terrorized by a mysterious killer. The film's unique blend of humor, suspense, and gore has made it a beloved favorite among horror fans. The film Sleepaway Camp takes place at a summer camp called Camp Arawak, where a group of teenagers are sent to spend their summer. The camp is filled with bullies and mean counselors who make the lives of the campers miserable. One of the campers, Angela, is a shy and introverted girl who has been traumatized by a traumatic event in her past. She is bullied by the other campers and counselors and becomes increasingly isolated. As the summer progresses, several campers begin to die under mysterious circumstances. The first victim is Kenny, who is found dead in the lake after being attacked by an unseen person. The next day, Billy is found dead on the beach, having been stung to death by bees. As the deaths continue to pile up, suspicion falls on Ricky, who is accused of being the killer. Meanwhile, Angela begins to form a bond with Paul, one of the campers. However, their relationship becomes complicated when Angela's past trauma is revealed and she begins to experience flashbacks and nightmares. Paul becomes increasingly obsessed with Angela and tries to get her to open up to him. As the bodies continue to pile up, the camp descends into chaos. The counselors are at a loss for what to do and the campers are terrified. In the end, it is revealed that Angela is actually Peter, who was thought to have died in a boating accident 8 years earlier. Martha, Angela's aunt, had raised Peter as a girl after his parents died and he had become increasingly disturbed and violent. The film ends with Angela/Peter standing on the beach covered in blood while holding a knife. She lets out a primal scream and stares directly at the camera, leaving the audience with a sense of unease and horror. The film's ending is shocking and unsettling, and it has become one of the most iconic and controversial endings in horror movie history. The making of Sleepaway Camp, a 1983 slasher film that has become a cult classic, was a labor of love for director Robert Hiltzik. With a modest budget of $350,000, Hiltzik set out to create a horror film that would stand out from the typical slasher flicks of the era. The film's story follows a group of campers at Camp Arawak, where a series of gruesome murders take place. Hiltzik's own experience attending camp as a child inspired the film's setting and tone. The majority of the principal shooting took place at a camp near Summit Lake in New York, formerly known as Camp Algonquin. The eerie atmosphere of the campgrounds added to the film's sense of tension and foreboding. One of the most notable casting decisions was the choice of Karen Fields to play the role of Judy, which was originally offered to Jane Krakowski, later known for her roles in Ally McBeal in 30 Rock. Fields brought a unique energy to the role, which added to the film's overall sense of unpredictability. Despite its low budget and modest expectations, Sleepaway Camp has become a beloved cult classic, with its blend of suspense, gore, and campy humor resonating with audiences. The film's success can be attributed in part to Hiltzik's vision and dedication to bringing his unique story to life. The film's legacy has endured, with it continuing to be celebrated as one of the best horror films of the 1980s. The film's protagonist, Angela, is a teenager who has been traumatized by the accidental death of her father when she was just a child. This event has had a profound effect on Angela's upbringing, leading to her being raised by her Aunt Martha, who is depicted as a cold and distant figure. The lack of emotional support and nurturing in Angela's childhood has left her feeling isolated, anxious, and vulnerable to the cruelty of others. When Angela arrives at Camp Arawak, she is subjected to bullying and harassment by her fellow campers, particularly Judy. The relentless teasing and humiliation push Angela to the brink of sanity, causing her to become increasingly unstable and violent. The film suggests that the traumatic events of Angela's childhood have created a vulnerability in her psyche, making her susceptible to the manipulation of others. The character of Judy is particularly noteworthy in this context. Her cruel and sadistic behavior towards Angela serves as a catalyst for the latter's descent into madness. Judy's actions are not simply motivated by malice, but also by a desire to assert dominance and control over others. Her treatment of Angela is a form of psychological warfare designed to break her spirit and make her feel powerless. Angela's eventual transformation into a murderous killer can be seen as a manifestation of her inner turmoil and rage. Her actions are not simply driven by a desire to kill, but also by a need to assert control and dominance over those who have wronged her. The film suggests that the trauma of Angela's childhood has created a sense of helplessness and powerlessness within her, which she seeks to overcome through acts of violence. Furthermore, the character of Aunt Martha serves as a symbol of the repressed emotions and trauma that Angela has been unable to confront. Martha's cold and distant demeanor is a manifestation of the emotional numbness that can result from ignoring or repressing one's feelings. The fact that Angela is forced to live with Martha suggests that she is unable to escape the trauma of her childhood and that it continues to haunt her. The film's climax, which involves a series of gruesome murders and graphic violence, can be seen as a representation of the chaos and destruction that can result from unchecked emotions and trauma. The film suggests that the consequences of ignoring or repressing one's emotion can be devastating, leading to a breakdown in social norms and a descent into madness. Sleepaway Camp is a film that explores the themes of childhood trauma and its long-lasting effects on a person's psyche. The character of Angela serves as a powerful example of how traumatic events can shape an individual's worldview and behavior. The film suggests that the trauma of childhood can create a sense of helplessness and powerlessness within an individual, leading them to seek control and dominance through acts of violence. Ultimately, Sleepaway Camp is a thought-provoking exploration of the human psyche that continues to resonate with audiences today. One of the key reasons Sleepaway Camp stands out is its unique blend of horror and humor. The film has a tone that is both gruesome and goofy, with a sense of campiness that is reminiscent of other cult classics like The Evil Dead and Reanimator. The special effects are intentionally cheesy, with a lot of gore and practical effects that add to the film's sense of humor. But beneath its humorous exterior, Sleepaway Camp is a surprisingly dark and subversive film. The killer's motivations are ambiguous and open to interpretation, leaving audiences to wonder what exactly drives them to commit such heinous acts. The film's exploration of themes such as sexuality, trauma, and mental illness add depth to what might otherwise be a simple slasher film. The cast of Sleepaway Camp is also notable for its lack of big-name stars. Instead, the film features a group of relatively unknown actors who bring a sense of authenticity to their roles. The campers are all teenagers, but they are played by adults who are around the same age at the time of filming. This adds to the film's sense of realism and makes the characters feel more relatable and human. Sleepaway Camp's influence can still be seen today in many horror films. The film's use of ambiguity and mystery has inspired many other filmmakers, including directors like Quentin Tarantino and David Fincher. The film's blend of horror and humor has also influenced many other films, including the Scream franchise and the work of filmmakers like Sam Raimi. In recent years, Sleepaway Camp has experienced a resurgence in popularity, thanks in part to its availability on streaming services and DVD. The film has also been re-released in theaters and has become a staple of horror conventions and festivals. Its influence can be seen in many other films, including horror comedies like Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Sleepaway Camp is a cult classic slasher film that has become a staple of the horror genre. The film's unique blend of horror and humor has made it a beloved favorite among horror fans, and its influence can be seen in many later slasher movies. The film's themes of childhood trauma and identity are also complex and nuanced, adding depth to its story. Overall, Sleepaway Camp is an important film in the horror genre, and its legacy continues to endure today. And so, dear viewers, we bid adieu to the sorry camp of nightmares that is Sleepaway Camp. The eerie atmosphere, the gruesome murders, and unforgettable twist ending. It's no wonder this cult classic has left a lasting impression on horror fans for decades. But don't get too comfortable, for next week we're diving into a whole new level of terror with the 2017 adaptation of Stephen King's It Chapter 1. Get ready to face your deepest fears as we explore the sewers of Derry, Maine, and confront the monstrous entity that lurks within. Will we survive the encounter with Pennywise? Tune in next week to find out. Until then, be sure to like and subscribe to Celluloid Asylum for more in-depth analysis and discussions on all things horror. And remember, in the darkness, the monsters are always waiting. Until next time, stay sane, if you can.